think we're live.
I think so.
I shared that somewhere from inside of the app, but I'm not sure it went to my page. So we don't know where we're going to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
We just end up somewhere.
Oh, I found us. Oh, I can see us on my page. So
that
all right, so it's working. You check in on my page. I have one, just one now.
And which one do you have, Michael?
It just says Michael Christopher.
That's it. Okay.
That's it. Yeah. I didn't know you could turn your profile into a public page. So it's basically the same thing as a business page, I think. I don't know. I just put my links on there. So I guess we're waiting now to see who shows up.
We are waiting. And I'm waiting.
Awesome.
See, Jen, they forgot all about us already. You step away from 3 months and people just forget who you are.
They'll be here. It's also the night before Thanksgiving. I kind of forgot about that.
But well, that's even better. People are drunk, looking for something to do.
Right.
Like, let's tune in and listen to this.
Oh, hey, remember those guys? Let's watch them.
This would be the perfect time to watch if that's the situation.
Yes.
Have popcorn with the fam.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
I'm not seeing any comments.
Nobody's coming?
Nobody's here yet.
Well, I see 6 eyeballs. Does that make sense?
Bridget's here, but I'm not seeing her comment. Okay, so no, there's people watching.
Okay.
But for some reason,
people to
the comments are not popping up. Dennis is watching. Bridget. I can see Dennis and Bridget, but I can't see any comments. So that'll be interesting.
Oh, there's one.
There's
from YouTube.
One. There's a YouTube one coming in.
Maybe it's a Facebook thing. I don't know.
Yeah, so y'all jump in there and gives us a little shout out in the comments so that we know that you are here. Please.
I guess I have to open my phone.
Yes.
To read comments.
Something.
So it's going to be a little different for those that are watching. It looks like just YouTube is showing up, but that's okay. We'll get the pages up. So I got mine up. So whatever pages you're on, if you can look at comments there. So we got Bridget. I see Bridget. Cheryl. Sue is there. Yep.
Let me know if you... Jennifer. We got some YouTube viewers coming in.
All right. Are you hearing any weird feedback? Because I got my phone right next to the computer, and sometimes they give some weird feedback.
I hear just a tiny little bit every now and then, but it's not a big deal.
Oh, Nicole. All right. I see Nicole's comment.
There's Nicole.
So they're just coming in.
Nice.
Hi, Sue. I see a comment there, and there's Cheryl.
Yeah.
She says, happy, and then in parentheses she puts no drama Thanksgiving. Yeah, same to you.
Yeah. When has there ever been a point in history where there's been no drama on any family holiday?
Right.
Name one.
Right.
I know in the Italian families, there's usually fist fights.
Oh, wow.
That sounds exciting.
Holidays were awesome. So,
yeah, I can't imagine your Christmas. Holy cow.
Oh, it was like Thanksgiving's the warm-up.
It's the warm-up.
Christmas, people are prepared. It's like, all right.
It's the practice round.
It is.
Thanksgiving is when you poke the bear, and then Christmas.
That's right. Then they go away for a couple of weeks, get even more, just let it fester, and then Christmas comes and they're ready.
You have too much fun at the holidays, Michael.
I used to. Now it's pretty laid back. All right. So welcome everybody. So as usual, we have no agenda. At first, the idea was Jennifer and I were going to come on, and then I had this idea. It's like, wait, let's get a couple more people to join us. So Tammy's here and Tanya's here. We decided just to do like a roundtable chat about anything metaphysical, if you will, spiritual, metaphysical. It's all the same, right? It's just a label. I don't know.
It is. It's all connected in one way or another. So if you have any questions, throw them up there. Aubrey's got a comment, and I love this. And back to you, Aubrey. She says, if nobody told you today, you matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
that's a great time of year too, to be hearing those kind of messages, especially for people that have lost loved ones, to just kind of have those affirmations from people that know that it matters that you're here. And yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
All right.
So,
So let's talk about it.
Yeah. You want to open it up to questions, or does anyone have
questions?
Where do you want to start?
How about my favorite topic?
Okay, let's do it.
I got several. Well, I've whined and complained enough to Jen over the last 5, 6, 7. How long has it been? Months. Talked Tammy's ear off a few days ago about stuff. So I went into hiding. And people were like, "Where'd you go?" And I didn't know what anxiety was. I mean, I did, but didn't. I thought little nerves here and there over the years. Turns out, no, it was more severe than that. It's anxiety. So I've kind of went with this over the last 9 years. And I started looking back at like my inconsistencies with wanting to do this work. And probably you're all aware that I go on a lot of breaks. But it finally came to a head around the end of spring. I decided I got to figure out what's going on. I had a really couple bad readings, and I was like, all right, it's me, and I need to figure this out. And long story long, that's what it was. It was kind of like the anxiety. I've always had this fear of success thing, and I've always had this fear about, I think it is more fear of success, and I'm sure people have experienced that with every, whatever you do. For me, I get so uncomfortable with feedback when people tell me I'm good at something, and this is something I've struggled with from the beginning. And for me, how that manifests for me is like every time, like I would do a demonstration, the next one I'd be just a wreck, because now I'm like, okay, now people have seen me. There's this expectation. It's like, the bar keeps going higher and higher in my mind. And I try to just push it away. And it got that way with private readings too. It's like people would reach out for readings, and I'd be like a mess the day before. And I think it just over the years, it just kind of compounded and caught up to me here recently. I just like, all right, I got to step back and figure out what's going on and kind of just step away like completely. And that's what I did. And I'm kind of just slowly working my way back now. But so yeah, that's what I've been up to over the last 84 years since we've done live.
I understand that anxiety though. And I think some of that is just so normal. I think a lot of people actually can relate to that fear of success. I can relate to what you were saying about, doing these readings and setting the bar. And then the next one, oh, am I going to, Tanya and I, we were just talking about this today, weren't we? We visited and we were kind of chatting about that whole, she said, oh, there just wasn't that wow that I thought there would be, but to the sitter, there still is. And so that's something, I don't know. Do we just get used to it? What is happening there? Because that happens to me too. When I don't get all the I can do a really great reading, but if I didn't learn something new or there wasn't something wow, I'm hard on myself. I'm like, well, where was the pow? Mm-hmm. 98% of my readings, where was it? And so then I get that, I can get that anxiety too. So I don't know. Do you deal with any of that, Tammy?
I do. It's interesting because I think this is the thing that we do, right?
Right.
And so this is sort of the unique gift that we have to share. And when we get so sort of internalized about ourselves that we can't share our gift and like the reason we're out here, that's really ironic, isn't it? I ended up challenging myself this year, and I did a couple of, Michael's like, I feel like old hat at this. Like he's done DEMs with people, and I hadn't really done a lot of those. And this year I had the chance to do a few of them through Michael Ireland. and also Slater, Kim Griffin Slater, I think.
Yeah, Kim.
And it honestly, it was like white knuckle flight. It was like every time, right? Because like I just figured, I don't know how this is going to work for me, like internally, if I can stand to put myself through this. But I learned some skills, and I was so thankful that I did that. But you know, one of the biggest things I learned was to take my focus off of who was in front of me and really focus on spirit and stay that direction and keep doing that till the reading was over. Oh my gosh, that's the only way I got through it. Seriously. But yeah, white knuckle flight. But I really had to put myself through it a few times before I went, okay, this works.
Okay, I can do this.
Even when I'm scared.
Yeah, I know those stems are hard, and they are. I don't think that I don't know that I'll ever get over that anxiety right before one.
You won't. I'll just save you some time right now.
The second that I open my mouth and I begin speaking and I go where I want to go, everything falls into place, and I know that anxiety beforehand, even smaller events, it's real, it's there. But again, yeah, once I step into that space and I open my mouth, it flows and it's fine. I just have to get over the before.
Yeah.
I just learned to breathe. Just take it. Everything's going to be okay. And you're right, Tammy. If I stay connected with spirit, you know, and keep that as my focus, then everything is fine. I don't get into my head. It's when I step out of that space that I start, you know, kind of getting into my own head and tripping over things.
And I tried to also, you know, I think the hardest part is prior to actually doing the thing, you know, there's all this buildup in your own brain and your nervous. So I tried to change the focus from fear into experience. So you know, I don't want to have the fear stop me. So I'm going to have this experience. I'm going to move forward with an experience. When I did that, it took a lot of that like craziness away.
Yeah.
And I was able to calm down a lot better. So, you know, I feel like we all just have to figure out what works for us.
Jack Daniels.
I'm over here, the newbie taking notes. Fear, shit.
Like, I told you. Okay, fair warning. In class, I was nothing but straight up about it, right? I said, it's always going to feel this way a little bit. It's always going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I feel like it needs to. I think that's what keeps us on our toes. That's what lets us. For me, I know that I still care. I really care a lot. That's what gives me the anxiety. You know, care about the sitter in front of me, care about the people I'm giving the message to. I care that I get Spirit's message correct. So that's where my anxiety comes from. But then I think, okay, that shows that I still have that level of care. I guess if I got up one day and just didn't give a crap what happened, that's when I should probably quit. Right.
Yeah.
No, know the right way. So there's a couple of people in my group here know that we can't see the comments all together, but I just wanted to acknowledge they were here and say hi. So I can see Sue is there, Aubrey, I see Sheila. Hello, Brandy. Brandy Butcher says hello to you, Michael. I don't know. I see her on there.
Sounds familiar.
Kim, Knowles, Ronnie, Michelle is on. Tammy is on. So thanks for joining us. If you guys have any questions about mediumship, questions about psychic stuff, any metaphysical stuff, Tanya is very well versed. Tell us about yourself, Tanya. I was gonna talk about the cool things you do, but I'm going to let you do it.
Oh, the cool things I do. I'm a life and health coach and Reiki master. This mediumship is newer to me. So the psychic piece has been coming in a lot more strong lately, but the mediumship is newer to me. So it's been a lot of fun to test this and start experiencing it. And it's been fun to actually experience it from the intentional side of things and offering readings for others. I'm in the newbie learning stage, so I very much feel like all things are the lessons for me, and there's not a lot that's familiar. So everything that comes in, I'm kind of in that spot of like, wow. But I also, I'm realizing that my entire life has been a training ground, and I'm watching how my life experiences are now making sense.
Yes,
And
isn't
kind of
that cool?
Mm-hmm. And even just like with what you guys were saying, just about the nervousness coming up. I've been a speaker for several years, and when I over prepare is when I really get in my head, when I'm kind of struggling, nervous, the anxiety, all that stuff, the wanting to quit. But when I can have a minimal preparation and then go on live and just let that come through, that's when things really work out for me. So I'm paralleling that to this work as well. If I'm in my head, if I'm over preparing, I can see how that would also create a lot of that. So keep myself in my space, just like what you guys were saying, make sure I keep my focus of where I am, and yet still be able to just be in that space of receiving.
So it's interesting you would say that. Something I've noticed too is so when I first started, we've talked about having big rituals before, right? Before you read.
Yeah.
Michael and I, we've talked about that. Like, I thought I had to do all the things, and I would do all the things. And then I realized that in my head, I wasn't reading as well because, oh my gosh, I forgot to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G before I did a reading, right? Which was sitting, light the ends, like do all the things. And I have since learned, it's been years and years, but I had to learn the hard way. The less prep is the better. Spirit knows what we're there for. My development doesn't happen right before a reading. My development, my sitting in the power, all of that happens another time. Right before a reading, if I just have to go in and do it, I can do it. And those are actually some of my better readings because I just go in. I'm not in my head about it for hours, or the 30 minutes that I'm sitting there wondering about it, trying to sit. I just go in and do it. So I understand that with the less preparation. That's intuition though too, right? Just kind of letting it go.
Yep, sure is. And, I've learned the hard way too, is to just talk about what you're getting, whether you're seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, that random thought that, that's not yours. It's just talk about what you're experiencing and don't add to it. Jennifer and I both studied with Charlie Kelly over in the UK, and he's another level on all levels, but
He is.
His saying was like, don't turn a lake into a multi-billion-dollar resort. What he means by that is just, if spirit shows you a lake, talk about the lake. Don't sit there and like, I see a lake. Okay, now I see trees around this lake. Oh, now there's a couple ducks. Before you know it, you're going away from this lake. Now you're in Australia talking about this grand body of water. And it's like, no. Meanwhile, spirit's yelling, no, just talk about the lake. They're going to understand the message. Just talk about the lake. And I think that's something I always keep in mind with this is like, don't allow the thought, feeling, emotion to sit there for longer than a second, because once you do, the mind kicks in and then you get this grand scene that was not there. Your mind's creating that.
Yeah.
So, but that's just that. There's so much to this, but it's so easy, but we make it difficult.
We do make it difficult. Yeah, we do. And so, Tanya, you were saying because you're newer to this, that everything is a lesson, but I'm telling you, the lessons don't ever stop. They continue. Spirit continues to teach you. Like, this journey it's lifetime. It's what we've always said, right? It's a lifetime of learning. It's a lifetime of learning.
Well, and I'm definitely realizing, because I'm a book nerd and I love to learn and I love to read and to study. I'm the biggest nerd I know. And so I want to be able to learn it intellectually. And that's, there's value.
Yes.
There's value. There's value. But I know when I started a class from you, and the very first day you're like, let's jump in it. And I'm like, wait, where's the book learning?
No, nope.
So I do find value in understanding other people's perspectives and experiences, but it's diving in with both feet where it's coming, and those little things of, I don't know how to do this, I can't do this, and then all of a sudden I'm doing it.
Yes, I promise, like, spirit is the best teacher. And I love reading. I do too. I like to read, and I like to get other perspectives. And again, it's just take what resonates with you and leave the rest there, because spirit and doing the work is where you learn, and you will continue to learn more and more and more. It will never stop.
Yeah, I agree, Tanya. I want the book. I always want the book, right? My background is engineering. So when I came to this, it was like, okay, well then at least give me evidence, So for me, it's like, okay, give me some evidence, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. But yeah, what the heck? Where's the book?
There is no book.
There's no book. No, that's it. There's no book. I giggle when I teach circles because I know I'm ruthless. I just throw them right on in there, and they're just looking at me like, what? That's how we learn. So Sue is asking a question. She says, do you find that doing psychic readings on a subject you have personal feelings about is wise? Can emotions get confused with spirit information? Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's where discipline comes in with the psychic or medium, is you have to have that discipline to remove yourself from any reading. And one example is, a lot of women have trouble reading for a client that lost a child, where men could maybe remove themselves a little bit further from the experience. A lot of women that I shouldn't say a lot, the ones that I've talked to that are mediums seem to have that because they're attached. They understand in a way, most women do, about what they went through. And it just, some of them can't separate the emotion from the reading, so yeah, it just, you have to have that discipline to remember that your job is just a channel. Remove your emotions, personal emotions and feelings away from it, and just do what spirit, where they're leading you, and just talk about it. But yeah, absolutely. You're human. You're going to have those moments where you personally get involved. And when you feel that coming on, it's your job to check yourself and say, okay, push that aside, compartmentalize it, get back to work. But absolutely.
That's interesting, because I've had that situation, Michael, and it was during a DEM, and I was only doing a reading for something like 7 or 8 minutes. And that situation occurred once I realized as the reading went on, and I just stopped. I was like frozen, and I realized like I was in this, I had gotten into my head, and then I was like, oh my goodness. Now I have to say someone else sort of jumped in and said, hey, I have some information on that too. But it was like halfway through that, I was just completely stopped. So yeah, it's interesting how those things that you, like, I wouldn't even have expected that. I would have thought that maybe I would have a better connection, because it would have been this situation, but not necessarily. So yeah, those things happen.
Yes, I can. Aubrey, she says, I giggle because that darn book is invisible.
Right?
It is. Yes.
There are no rules. I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people to understand is, sorry, I don't care who the author is that's in the physical world. You don't know everything about this subject. Nobody does. So you're reading about someone else's experiences. And I think that can be a double-edged sword, because a lot of people fall into, that's how I have to do it. And I think the challenge is to be yourself, be authentic, and do it your own way, or find your own path. And I think, taking those books, and there's a lot to take from it, but I think you have to look at those as tools. Take what, interests you, resonates with you, but then find a way for you to implement that.
Yes.
And
To
see how
make
it works
it your
for
own.
you. Yeah. because you got to, I mean, I think that should be rule number one is there are no rules. There are none. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I don't care who it is. There's no right or wrong way. And that's hard for a lot of people that have to have that construct.
Yeah, because there's no construct to the learning, nor is there much construct to the work. It's just what's come. That's, if you guys saw my post yesterday, I was just sitting there and my brain was trying not to get in the way because I'm like, I'm scribbling. I'm just scribbling. What the hell am I doing? I just kept going, right? And then it turned out to be what it turned out to be. But yeah, you have to. There is no. If that's where Spirit's directing me, that's what I'm doing. And it's odd sometimes. It's like, what is happening? What is going on? You just have to go with it.
Well, I like what Michael also said about like when you read a book that you're only getting like that author's viewpoint. And I love that because I was walking with a friend earlier in the week and she was telling me how she was used to meditating in quiet. And she also had tried maybe some guided meditations, but she read my book and she said, hey, I'm going to try some music. She did it with music, and the things that happened with her, she was able, I mean, I don't think this is normal, but she was able to feel the presence of some people she really wanted to connect with. And she said just to have the feeling was something she'd never had before. But that was just because she kept reading, and she was open-minded enough to try something like, hey, I've never done this before. Just tried it. So, yeah, I just think every book you read, there's probably one or two things you can pull from that.
Yeah, there is, definitely. Yeah. So tell us about your book, Tammy.
Oh, my gosh. Thanks for asking.
Yes.
So here's my book.
I remember when we were talking about you writing it. And here
yes, right?
Yes.
It's Afterlife Bonds. And like you guys have been around me long enough to know that this is really a story about a brother that I didn't know I had. And during a class that Michael and I were in together, everybody was signing up for these psychic readings with a lady in the UK, Debbie Nicholson. And so, we all went that direction. I got a reading from her and it was wild. She's like, well, I think there's, part of that family you haven't quite connected with yet. And I'm like, no. And finally she really, like a medium should, she got very assertive with me because I wasn't taking it. And she's like, look. Anyway, she was saying, there's this person out there that's looking for you. We don't know if it's a boy, girl, whatever, but they're looking for you. And and then she says, they're going to find you through DNA testing. And I'm like, what? Right? I mean, here's someone saying there's something I had no clue about, plus how they're even going to find me. So there you go. That was the beginning of my book. Now I have to say, we do go through, I do meet him 6 months later. And unfortunately, he had some kind of a surprise situation with his health. He passes, but that's not where the book ends, right? For all of us looking at like life doesn't end, that was really the part that I talked with him about. I only met him once, but really talking with him more mediumistically as he worked through his passing. I just asked him, I said, I'm exactly the person that needs to be here, so let's do this together and, show me all this cool stuff that I just don't know about. And that's what the rest of it's just,
wow.
It's amazing and it's astounding. And he brought like silliness and joy into that process, which I never had before. So, I really will, recommend it to people. I also didn't want to take people on that journey and then not have anything for them to kind of funnel that energy into. So for about 13 chapters, there's some exercises you can try or not, right? So nice. Thanks for asking, Jennifer.
You're welcome. And where do we find it? Amazon?
Thank you. Yes, you can find it on Amazon. And we have, there's an ebook, paperback, and also audio.
Awesome.
Yay, yay. Thanks for asking.
You're very welcome. I'm excited. I'm excited to read it. I'm excited to get my hands on it.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
gotten through a couple chapters.
You've gone through.
I'm a slow learner. I have to have a dictionary next to me
No, you
and a
don't.
thesaurus.
There's no big words. I don't know big words.
And are there pictures?
No, that's my normal.
You know what? There's not, I mean, that picture on the front.
I'm in trouble. Now I can't. I got to have a picture book.
That's me. And that's like,
I love this.
and then Matt on the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt was funny. I still remember the reading I did for you. And it just proves that where does this stuff come from? Because I still remember him talking about the popcorn. I'm like, what's with the popcorn? And in my mind, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then she's like, tell me about how he used to eat a bag a night, just sit there and watch TV and
Eat the popcorn.
Yeah. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my gosh.
And that was so cool because my brother passed in August, and in December, Michael and I were talking back and forth, and in December, he's like, hey, how's it going? And like immediately Matt is in there. So he's like texting a reading. This went back and forth for probably an hour and a half. And that was the first time I had like really clearly heard from Matt outside of, all the amazing things that happened prior to that. So it was really cool. Like Michael's in the book, can't help it. He did that. And then he did, I think, another reading later on. So yeah.
I love that.
He's just got one of those personalities too. It's like, damn it. How do people like that have to leave so early? It's like, come on. It's like, they're just, I can still feel them. I mean, it's like that guy you want to hang around with. It's just one of those people.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are bros. Like from Dave, like that first reading, all the stuff that was you were pulling out. I'm like, you guys connected so well that it's in the book because it's just amazing, all the little details. The reality was I didn't know him to the detail that Michael was pulling out, right? So I was looking for evidence. So I went back to his daughters, and you see that in the book. They came back with so much evidence. It was astounding. So it was great. I so appreciate that, Michael.
I do too. It just, it's just getting that validation that I'm not making this stuff up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we strive for, right? When we do this work, it's like, okay, this has to be coming from somewhere because I'm not thinking about this.
Right.
Let's see. I'm just saying hi real quick to people on my page too. I'm sorry for everybody who's watching on my page.
And
I haven't used StreamYard in a long
comments.
time, and I can't see the comments in the normal dashboard. So now I'm having to look at my phone. So I see Aubrey, Jess. Hello, Jess. Hello, Michelle. And Roy and Dawn, everybody. I wish I could go through all the list. Jess is asking, though, tips for separating the spirits when doing a reading and they start to blend together. Really, Jess, and this is going to be typical me and my personality, is I give them a warning. I'm like, all right, look, fuckers.
I was going to say GTFO is coming. I know it.
Yeah.
I know
Separate yourselves. Separate yourselves now, or I'm just going to stop because I seriously, I'm like, I know you're excited, but I'm slow in the head to start with. So you got to really take your time with me. And I just tell them it's like one at a time, please, one at a time. The F-bombs don't drop until they don't listen. Then I drop the F-bomb. I'm polite at first, but then I'm like, all right, fuckers, I told you once. Stop.
Here's another question, Michael. Let's talk about this. Jennifer is asking, was there ever a time when you couldn't read a client where we couldn't get that connection? Was there some type of block or void?
All right. So in the beginning, I would think it was me and that I just was not connecting, or I wasn't. I was like, something's wrong. And it's definitely, I should reword that. It's definitely like a problem with me. I'm going to use me as an example. I'm not going to like say, well, so-and-so, they've reported this. My experience is I've always connected with a caveat. I may not be getting it because I'm getting it in my head. They are there. They're 100% there. Mm-hmm. I may be getting fragments, and it's fragmented because I'm in my head. So it's a kind of difficult answer for me, but it's like a yes and no. I have had a few where the messages weren't coming through as clear as they should. But I have learned that was a problem with me at that moment. They're there. So I can't blame the spirit. I can't blame the sitter. It's all on the medium. I hope that makes sense in some roundabout way. But early on, yes, I've had those type where
there's
just thought
just
there was
nothing.
no message. And it's like, wait a minute. No, they're there. They are 100% there.
Yeah.
But we blame ourselves. And
So, Michael, have you noticed like spirits can come through with different energy, right? So we were just talking about Matt just being so strong, but I've also had those situations where spirit comes through and they're very light, right? And that can be attributed to whatever. I think I've had it a few times with older women, like in their 90s, but that's their personality, is that they're just very light and kind and just all the wonderful things. But have you had that too, where you can see the difference in the energy that comes through that way?
Yeah, that's how I understand. I can feel the energy right away. And that's how I can feel a lot in that first initial, when I feel their energy, right? That's when I know about that person right then, because I can feel it in their energy. Just like you said, sometimes it's a very strong energy. Sometimes it feels a little bit heavy. Sometimes it feels light. Sometimes it feels fun. Sometimes it feels, just a very, very different energy with every spirit person that comes in, just as we're very different. But yeah, you can feel a lot in that.
And it's real
weird.
subtle, or it can be.
I always like talking to other people to see how everybody gets their information, because it's and again, we're all different, but like I don't feel like right now I'm aware of a fireman. There's a fireman standing like right here next to me. I can feel it. There I go. I didn't feel it, but I have this thought in my head. I'm trying to dissect this as much as I can, but I'm just aware of a fireman. I see a man right here with the whole get up on, so it's just weird how they're here.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I think that's helpful being new to this too, because to hear, because you come into it with expectations that you've heard from outside, what it should look like, feel like, sound like, all those things. And I know for me, I don't really feel either. It's different. I don't have the words necessarily, but it's kind of validating to hear other people use different language, to just know that it's not always
right. Yeah.
This one way, and to, I don't know how to describe it. It's a seeing, but not.
Yes.
There's a feeling, but not.
Yes.
I know, now I'm getting trashed. Not trashed. Aubrey's teasing me now because I said, I don't feel, but I feel there's a fireman. So yeah, it's weird, because it's like, how do you describe it? I see him in my mind's eye.
Right. Right.
Now I feel like I'm being stared at. Like he's standing here just staring at me. That's the feeling I get. So now it just did move into a feeling.
Oh, see, now that's interesting to hear too, right? Is that you have this initial awareness.
Yeah.
And there was a lot to that. But then you talked about it and it really kind of got deeper, right?
Yeah.
So that interaction, I think, helps too.
It's a weird thing, isn't it?
It is weird. So another thing I was wondering, do you notice, I think Michael, we might have talked about this, but I'm curious with you, Tammy, too. Do you notice that you'll be reading for a while, could even be a span of months, and there's a couple of your clairs that are really, really strong, and you're using them, and then it shifts, and all of a sudden it's a different clair that it's working really strong? Do you notice that?
You know what? I'm going to say no.
Really?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to bluntly say, I think because I'm an engineer,
yes,
you can't, there's no book. So you got to give me something visual, right? So for me, it's always been clairvoyance first,
Yes.
And then as I sink into that, or I ask them questions like, oh, that's a great house. Where's the farm? Oh, I see you have horses. What do you do with your horses? I just start conversation with them.
Mhm.
But, it's kind of like that. But I also do feel, right, whether it's emotion or whether I also use that when I'm trying to figure out what they passed from.
Yes.
A lot for me, it works better to say, just show me. And so they show me on my body, like,
Right.
right. That works. But honestly, I think if it went any other way, I'd freak out. Like, what? Wait, where are you? Wait.
Wait.
Right?
Right. Well, yeah. And sometimes that's what happens to me, but the same as you, I'm very clairvoyant, and that is my very strongest clair, right? And then just the knowing that comes with that. But sometimes I won't see. I'll be reading and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all the feels tonight. I'm feeling all of it, or I'm just knowing all of it. I'm seeing nothing. And those are interesting. It's almost like I feel like spirit's pushing me, just to kind of practice and to use the different. But it does freak me out when I can't see, because that is my strongest. That is what I see those images.
Yeah.
Oh, squirrel moment.
Okay.
That goes back to the question, I forget who had it in the comments about, do you ever not get a message? And that's the perfect point, Jennifer, because if you go into a reading and you have your two favorite clairs, like I see and hear, and you're sitting there waiting to see or hear something and nothing's coming through, you're like, oh my God, I'm screwing something up. And it's spirit's way of saying, no, dummy, what do you feel?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a lesson I learned from the beginning. Was I was very clairvoyant and it was going great. And all of a sudden it's like, all right, I'm not getting anything. What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? And Tammy knows Mimi, who was my first teacher, was like, well, what else are you getting? What are you feeling? I'm like, I don't feel.
I have no feelings.
I'm a cold-hearted SOB. I don't feel nothing. But anyway, so they try to get you to go in those directions too. So, I'll save you all a very long lesson. Is you have to just go into it very open-minded and be aware of everything. When you put your mind to the spirit world, literally everything that comes through, if you feel an emotion, it's like something's going on. It's not you, it's them. So that ties into that question, I think, very point. I'm not going to try.
It's a bit weird, Michael. Don't try it.
Like 90% of the words in the dictionary I cannot pronounce. Anyway.
That's a good point, though. Hey, can I do a quick shout out to Mayra Padilla? She is, I think I see her that she's on here, and she's part of my crew. I'm going to call her part of my crew from Preston Lee. And I'm thrilled that she's shown up for this. So she's pretty cool.
Hello.
Yes.
Aubrey, yes. Words are very hard for me.
Abby says expectation free and just let yourself be open. And that really
exactly.
is.
And hello, Abby. It's been a while. I'm looking down because I can't see comments here. I'm looking at my phone. And Abby actually has a comment. Usually your frequency when you're heavy and have a lot going on in your personal life, it's not super easy to completely put yourself aside to allow judgment free, to allow the flow. Yeah, exactly. And again, that's some of the work we do as a medium is to work on that. And even if you're having the worst day ever, it's like, okay, I'm sitting down with a client now. I have to push that aside, so yes, very good point.
Yep. That has to go. There was another question. I'm going to scroll here on my phone because there was another question.
And Tanya, since I don't know how new you are to this, but yeah, I just think back, and that was for me a really exciting time because it's like, it was just like, I could not stop. That's all I wanted to do. And I went 9 months straight, and then you hit that burnout wall, like boom, spirit's like, take some time off. You're just, but it's like a new toy. It's like, you're just experimenting and just,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I am. And I think one thing that I love about it is so many areas in our life, we don't see results very quickly. And I think this is one where I have felt like I have. I mean, it is very new to me. And yet like the experiences that I'm having, I'm just so excited. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened today. And I think about other areas in my life, and they don't result there. It's not that quick. Try and go to the gym. You don't feel that way after day 1 or after day 10. It's very slow, and this, I mean, I know that it will still develop, but it feels, I don't know. I recognize, I think that's part of what makes it fun and what kind of keeps me wanting to go and do more. And just like what you're saying, I'm like, I do one and then I want to do another one and then I want to do another one. And I feel like it is because it is, I don't know, it's encouraging, and some you get the wow factor, and some it's not as wow, but it's still, I'm still getting stuff.
Yes.
And so it's encouraging.
Well, the thing about the wow factor, and this is a lesson I learned early on too, that's where we have to put aside our egos about what's wow and what's not.
Exactly.
I mean, because I've learned over the years, those little things that we feel are just an insignificant little side note ends up being the most poignant part. There's that word I tried to say, poignant.
You got
When I
it.
wasn't thinking about it, it came out. That ends up being like the biggest point in the reading for somebody. And again, it's just like, that's where we just have to remember, it's not about us or what we think is, just that, I got to have that moment during the reading. I gotta, that's our ego. But when we put that aside, and they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe you talked about, my father stepping in a pile of dog shit in the yard. It's, sorry, I got a problem sometimes with my language. But I mean, it literally is like that. You're like, holy crap. And it was like, yeah, that's the biggest part of the reading sometimes.
So Colin has a comment here. He says, Spirit will help everyone to use all abilities at different times to inspire us to recognize that we are so much more than what we think. We're multidimensional beings. I love that comment, because that is so spot on. Spirit is so great at helping to teach and helping us to see things that, So.
And we are interdimensional communicators. I got that from Tanya. Not you, Tanya, but my friend Tanya.
I'm like, did I say that?
No. I was like, no, that makes me feel like
Tanya Vidko. We were talking one night, and she was trying to, I don't know how we got on it, but we're talking about these fancy labels. And she brought it up. She's like, you're actually, our mediums are interdimensional communicators. I'm like, there it is.
No.
It sounds so official.
It sounds too official. Sounds very official.
One of the other things I really enjoy, which I just never really thought about this, was all of the personalities and the people that we're meeting through mediumship.
Oh my God.
I mean, in my lifetime, I don't think I would have met such a variety of people as spirits that come through. Mm-hmm. And the relationships, right? And the way that, like, recently I had a great grandmother come through, and then the mother of the person that came in was there, and she really wanted to talk to her mother, but she didn't have a lot of information about her great grandmother. But it's funny, she actually ended up texting while we were in the reading, because she wanted to know if all this stuff was evidential. But I just loved it, right? So great grandma comes in first just to kind of say, hey, I'm around. And I just loved it. And the relationship between two of them, the relationship into the family as the family sits today, that there were parts of the family who knew all about her and other ones that need to kind of have a refresher, on who she was. So I just feel like it's really cool. It's like extended family,
It is.
It is. And we're crazy people. So it's like we finally found our tribe.
Right?
I mean,
it's funny you would say that, Tammy, because I was thinking about that the other day, about all of the people in spirit, as well as my sitters that I have got to meet, that I have got to talk to. I've learned so much about different lifestyles and just different ways of life. You know, I get to meet people I would never probably have, I would have never had the chance to meet. And so that is, it's beautiful. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
I love it. Love it.
And then you get to go to these adventures in these haunted hotels.
Without you.
I'm pointing to wherever Jennifer is on my
Right
screen.
here.
She's right below me.
So are you going to do more of those? Like tell us about that.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I just go for fun. Like I don't go to investigate. Like I go to feel the energy. I took Tanya with me the last time we went. I just go just to feel. It's a learning thing for me as well. I like to step back into like a piece of history. So I like the older, you know, to go the older
Yeah.
places and just step back in. And I just like to feel it, and I like to be there. I'm not there to investigate or anything like that. I'm just really there to feel. Who's there? Who wants to say hi? Like, what's your story? What is the story? What happened here? That's what I just like to feel. And there's that word, Michael. I like to feel it. I like to step in and feel.
Let's talk about our feelings.
You can feel all that energy. I love it.
I think that's really cool.
And there are a lot of really neat places. I mean, there's a lot of places within just driving distance of where I am. So I just go visit.
Oh, can I ask, are you're in Utah?
Yes. In the Uinta Basin.
Exactly.
Yes.
So have you investigated that area? Like, you know?
Oh yeah, she
I know
tells me
where
all
you're
about
going. Let me put it this way. I do have a client. Yes, I have a client up in that area. I go to her house quite often.
Okay. We can wander into that or not. I get it. Yeah,
I feel a way about it. It's going to be a long conversation for me because I really feel a way, and we could just say it. In the Uinta Basin right now, we're kind of known as a paranormal hotspot. We have some things going on, right? We have the Skinwalker Ranch. We have, I mean, that's really the biggest one. But now we have this big paranormal conference that comes in every year, and they're really building that up. Honestly, as a medium, I feel a way about that. I see a lot more clients. They want me in their home. There's something wrong with their home because now it's being hyped up into this crazy something. I also, a lot of clients that come to me, they want stuff that I'm not the medium for them. because they're immersed in, you know, I don't know. I want to say it and say it right. It's creating an energy here that is different. It's going to take a while for us to work around.
yeah, that's
Would it be
fair.
fair?
That's
Would
how
it be
I
fair to say? Would it be fair to say TV influences a lot of things that really
Yes.
aren't happening?
absolutely. That's completely fair. That's
And
completely.
that's the problem I've had over
I put a lot of fires
years.
out.
Yeah, it's like,
Wow.
okay, let's look at this from a very basic common sense point of view to start with.
Mm-hmm.
What is actually happening? Because you hear the famous "my house is haunted." Well, let's talk about that. What's going on? When you actually break it down, and I don't know everything, but most of the time it's a family member that's just trying to get their attention. It's nothing demonic or evil. They're just
Right.
they've tried subtly to get your attention. Now they're ramping it up a little bit more, and that's what it usually ends
Right.
up being, but yeah, that's another soapbox issue.
You're right, Aubrey. It really does. She says TV creates a lot of unwarranted fear. And I guess that's the best way to say it is I've run into a lot of that lately. I really have. There's been an uptick in calls. Please come see my home. There's been an uptick in people just wanting to visit, wanting to know some things. And really, my passion really is the human soul, the human spirit. That's where I tend to keep my focus. The cryptids and all of, the UFOs and all of that. Does it interest me? Of course it does. But have I done a deep dive into it? Do I know a lot about it? No, I'm not the medium for you. If we're talking about the cryptids or, that's not my area of expertise. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yes.
And my friend Jamie she's in the chat. She goes, "My house growing up, built in the 1800s, was absolutely haunted. Not family members, LOL. I can tell lots of stories. I've heard some of them." And again, it's not like, I'll say this, it's not all of them. most of them are the family members, but yeah, there's definitely exceptions. And I feel you, Jamie, because my grandmother's or my grandparents' house back in upstate New York was definitely a creepy place.
There are definitely haunted houses. I've lived in one.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. And one day I want to go
Doors
back.
open by themselves. It's kind of like,
Yeah. It's weird. It's a little weird. One day I'll grab you, Tanya, and I'll get brave and we'll go knock on the door and be like, hey, I used to live here. Can we check it out?
Oh, I'm totally going with you. Please call me.
We'll see how well that goes over.
I'm like,
Yeah,
anywhere you
Jamie.
want to go, I will follow at this point.
You're right, Jamie. Not
she's
evil.
going to get you in trouble. She's
Well,
pulled me into
I've never
she's
been in-
pulled me into some stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's the other way around. But
I do have a question for you guys because I think one thing when I first got started was this is not necessarily, I don't want to say it's something that I didn't have when I was younger, because I believe I probably did and just didn't realize, but I have no memory of having any of these gifts until late 30s, early 40s. And so I know that was not a barrier, but when I started recognizing some of it, I wondered, because I had this belief that you had to be born with it or experiencing something as a child. And a lot of the people that I were around were making conversation about how when they were kids, this is what they noticed. And I have none of those memories. So I'm curious, is that something that you guys have experienced, this type of, whether you were doing it as work or just experiences when you were kids, or was it something that came older?
Mine was definitely, I was 45. Before that, I read about mediums, watched them on TV. That was about the extent of it. But then going through the passing of 3 of my siblings and my kidney transplant and all that, that's the stuff that over a 20-year period slowly, I guess, pushed me into that. But it wasn't until my sister's passing that it really blew the doors off and made me hyper aware of, okay, something else is happening. But like you, I was not born. I don't remember a single experience throughout my life prior to my sister visiting. That was the first, and I was 45. So I think it's different for everybody, but I think, again, we're souls. We have this. This is with us, whether we're aware of it or not, but it seems to be the trend of something traumatic happening in our life to kind of make you question, is there more? I think that's how it starts for a lot of people. We have that experience that at least gets you to open up a book like Tammy's.
right.
Which is called, by the way. I just want to be clear, But for me, I remember at a young age being in the kitchen with my mother and cooking, chopping vegetables, doing that thing, and chattering away. And having my mother turn around and look at me and say, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm working on these potatoes or whatever it is I'm chopping. And she's like, no, who are you talking to? And she said it in such a shameful way. I was like, I guess I'm not talking to anybody, right? And she's like, okay, that's the right answer. So for me, if there was something going on, it wasn't anymore. And then, of course, I follow in the engineering route. And then I end up losing a pregnancy at 20 weeks, which was, it was just a really, really tough thing to go through. And that was really what broke me open on this and really made me go back to, those things that I had sort of used as a child and really kind of go back into this and taking classes and reading books and all that kind of stuff. So that's how that happened for me.
Yeah. I can look back at things. I didn't recognize them for what they were when I was younger. But just as you were saying earlier, Tanya, now I can look back and I'll be like, oh, I understand that now. I know what that is. But at the time I had no idea, right? I was just a kid. But there are some definitely core memories that I have. And I can now relate them. I now understand what was happening there. But I didn't have any idea. Like Michael, I was in my 40s as well. There was also some trauma there was some big trauma, but I'll tell you, this is going to sound weird. There was also a physical detox that happened after that trauma. So I was already in the process. It had already blown wide open. I went in to have a surgery. I actually had breast implants removed. And I am telling you, the next day, shit went insane. It was like my body just detoxed from, there was mold, there was all sorts of stuff, but my body went through this really quick detox. And for the first time since I can remember in years, that very first night after the surgery, I dreamed. I had a dream that I could remember. My dreams came back, and my senses just exploded. I was already on the cusp. I was already learning. But I'm telling you, that was almost overnight, night and day. That's where I learned. I learned a lot about, my body and keeping it healthy and a lot of stuff like that. But that's honestly, and so that was, that's a little bit of trauma, right? That's detoxing, that's surgery, but I know that's really weird, but I can tell you the exact date I began dreaming again after 40, 50 years that I can remember it. And it was after that surgery, and my clarity was just unreal after that. So yeah, I think it just opens differently for everybody.
Yeah. And sometimes not at all. And I think
right,
that's just part of this journey, it's temporary. And I don't know, I just had this thought too, because I know there's a lot of people that are watching that do have abilities. And I think, I don't know, I feel I need to say this, it's your choice whether you explore it or not. I know a lot of people that have had an experience and all of a sudden they feel like this pressure to have to do something with it. They have to start working with clients or do arenas. Like, you absolutely do not.
No.
It's a gift in itself, just knowing that you made that connection, and that could
Yes.
just be kept for you. And it's a personal thing that you share with nobody but yourself.
And some people, they don't have any desire to develop those abilities, and that's fine too. They're there. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to ask if anybody had anything out there or any questions on the topics.
I wanted to ask does any one of you three have cards? I don't have any cards with me. I was just thinking before we left, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Let's just do like a collective something.
I only got like 30 decks sitting here.
I know. And I know Tanya's probably always got cards.
I'm like, they're back there.
I guess we don't even need a card. We could just do a message, I guess.
I mean, I can grab them. I'll just kill my camera so you. I don't know how to kill my camera.
I think Tammy
There should be.
She's bringing some.
Oh, I found some. Oh.
I didn't know it's like my ADD kicks in and I'm looking like, which ones? I'm not grabbing the Rebel deck.
Maybe next time.
Michael, Aubrey is requesting if you would maybe do a group healing. I don't know if you're up for it.
Oh,
we could do that before we leave.
Awesome. Hello, Jacqueline. Yeah, we are. You did only catch the ending.
Well, kind of.
We're wrapping up soon.
Yeah.
Good to see you, though.
Jamie, my tiny human just got out of the shower. Got to run. See you, Jamie. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, Jamie.
She calls her son the human tornado.
I called mine the Minions. So
All right, who wants to do a card?
Want to start with the card?
Sure.
I have Sacred Traveler.
Sacred Traveler. That's weird. I think I have that same deck somewhere.
I also have.
Oh, I got Sacred Destiny. So your guys traveling. My guys already made it there.
Well, then I guess you trumped me. Go ahead. Sacred Destiny. That looks good. Michael, you win.
No. I was just, it was just weird. I saw it and it looks familiar. No, you got to do the travel first and we see where we end up.
Okay, let's do that. You want to? think Michael's doing this. Okay, cool.
Yep. You go first.
Oh, okay.
Ladies first.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I use these cards a lot because I like to travel. And I think that's part of my soul, identity is just being a traveler. So it's really interesting how a lot of times I will pull these cards. All right, so let's see what we have here. Oh, I love this.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm trying to get this. It's like the
Stepping
opposite.
into power. You are,
You
what does it say?
Strong beyond measure. Right? That's exactly what we've been talking about. Right?
Where are we going now, Michael, that we're traveling? We're stepping into our power. Where's it taking us?
To freedom.
I love it.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
I love that.
I love that.
I don't know. As I feel into it, I just feel like, giving yourself permission to break free from the fear that's holding you back from whatever your passion is.
Yes.
I just feel like get out of your head, free your mind, and just stop limiting yourself, because you're the only one that stops you from being the person you want to be, and it really is. And that goes for all of us. I mean, we beat ourselves up, holding ourselves back. I mean, I'm famous for that. It's like I have a thought and it's like, well, that can't be me, and that's what I'm struggling now with the mediumship, is like that fear of success thing. I see other people doing. I'm like, almost like I self-sabotage. I got to free myself from that mindset of just do it. Even though I've been doing this for 9 years, I still feel like that day one, it's still like terrifying.
That's so interesting, Michael. It's just, I find that so interesting because I feel like Michael has sort of this natural ability. We can say everyone does, but Michael just sort of, at 45 and now, you're extremely good communicator. So it's interesting for you to say that, like fear of success. How interesting. And I mean, how do you push past that? What is the thing, right?
That's kind of what I'm working through right now, is like, how do I just finally just
let
stop
go
that, and it's not for just everybody else, that mindset. Anything. It's just getting out of that mindset of limiting myself and my belief about where this can take me or where it's going to take me, or I don't know. It's just, I've always had that self-sabotage. Yeah. It's constant.
I am so surprised to hear that, right? Because I just think you're so talented. So I wonder if it's really just not having expectation, just like end it there, right? So
that's 100% what it is. It's like, stop with that thinking, It's like I was saying earlier with any reading, it's like, just talk about what you're experiencing. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like that bar that's been set. It's kind of like, right? Oh my God, now the next time it's like, oh my God, now I got to outdo myself. That's what needs to stop.
Yeah.
And that's like a constant battle for me, if you will.
So, Michael, have you connect with Tanya after this? I know she's thinking the same thing. Wait, I got the psychic going on with her. I don't want to get into it right now, but please connect with Tanya after this.
Yeah.
She got something for you, and I know she does. Okay. I can feel it. I got all the chills going on.
Well, when we stop the stream, we can talk real quick if we have a few minutes.
I know what's going on over there. So
all right.
Connect with Tanya. She might have something for you for that.
Can I stay for this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm so intrigued.
It's not.
I'm intrigued too. We'll never know what comes out.
Oh, that's so cool.
Surprise myself.
And I just want to say to Aubrey, because she left a comment, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes.
No, and I do, and people have supported me, and I do appreciate that. It's like it's just those inner demons that
Yeah.
still linger that hold me back and put me on these very frequent indefinite pauses from this work. So anyway,
So do you want to do
so
a healing and
yeah,
call it a night?
who's up for it? I mean, I haven't done one of those in a long time. And here again, my mind just kicked into like,
See?
is this real? Does it really benefit anybody? And I'm like, stop that.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. And you know, I have received healing from you before when I had that like migraine. And after healing, it like suddenly disappeared. And I always have to like, I call it a migraine, but I mean, I have to take Advil and then just go to sleep and close my eyeballs. It was gone. So
Wow.
yeah, no, let's do this.
Interesting. All right. So let's do this then. So if you're anybody who's interested, if maybe you've never seen this before, it's nothing woo-woo. My head's not going to spin or anything. You got to remember that you are the healer, right? You heal yourself. A healer or somebody just holds space or sets the intention, gives you permission, if you will, to open up to that possibility that we can do amazing things with our mind if we allow it. So that's literally all I do. And this came upon me as something like mediumship out of nowhere. And I just started playing around with it. And it was just like, okay, some people give me feedback that it helped. And still my human mind's going, nah, they're just being nice. And I've been critical of like, people do not BS me. If it's like, you have nothing, tell me this because I need to know, because I don't want to be one of those that are just claiming to do something just because. No, I got to know. So anyway, all I do is I just shut my eyes. It's really quick, maybe a minute. That's about it, usually. But I just send out the healing. I just set the intention and send the energy. And I believe that energy has an intelligence and that it's going to help you, maybe even not in the way that you're anticipating. Maybe you have a physical pain going on right now. You know, the theory is that sometimes that our emotional body can cause the physical pain. So maybe the energy goes in and heals you on an emotional level that releases that pain. I don't know. I just do it. So that's a real low down and dirty about what's going to happen. So all these fancy technical terms that I have. All right. So if you want, you can just shut your eyes and just set the intention. So if you are experiencing physical pain, just kind of put your awareness there and just give yourself permission to release it. So I'm just going to go as soon as I stop talking, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to stop there. All right. I don't know if somebody has something going on with their eye, but I felt somebody was having an eye issue. I'm just going to leave it at that. It was just sometimes I get images like, and the other one was like a lower back. But anyway, I'd be curious to see if anybody felt anything. And again, don't feel obligated just to say, yeah, kind of did. No. It's cool if it didn't. It's just, I'm always curious to see. So yeah, anybody else have anything before we call it an evening? Going once? I'm looking at my
Well,
phone.
I do. I just wanted to say, like, to those that are celebrating tomorrow, I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. Have safe holidays. Enjoy yourself. Don't get into fights, Michael. Whatever's going to happen.
No, that was the Italian family back in New York. It's pretty.
Oh, I got you. That was a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah, this is pretty calm over here these days.
Okay.
Yay.
So, all right. Well,
And thank you for
thank you,
joining.
everybody.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yeah,
and
it
to see you
has.
guys back. You didn't forget us. It was
I
nice
know.
to chat.
Thank you guys for having me. This has been fun.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
learned a lot from all of you.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll do it again. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, everybody. I saw Miguel on there. I wanted to say hi to him if he was still on. I think I tried to catch everybody, but thanks for joining us. We'll come back. We'll do it
Yes,
again.
thank you very much. Yeah, we'll be back. I don't know. I don't want to promise anything. Like I said,
We'll
I'm
be back.
slowly getting back into it, but yeah, we'll be back. Trying to figure out something new to keep people interested, so there you go. All right. So with that, we'll say good night.
Good night.
So 4 of us will stick around afterwards, so don't click off yet. All right.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, y'all.